The Las Vegas football team hired a 73-year-old Pete Carroll, and Dallas picked Brian Schottenheimer as head coach. If you want to know the Maller report card, we did the rare and appropriate Sporty Maller podcast, the Fifth Hour podcast, which normally we don't even mention sports on the Fifth Hour podcast. It's just me talking about my life. But on that, we did talk about sports. I did a mini Maller monologue on the Cowboys and a mini Maller monologue on the Raiders. So, yeah, how about that? Unbelievable. So, with that being said, maybe you didn't hear that. Maybe we're not listening to that, and that's fine. But I'm not going to rehash what I did in that mini Maller monologue, but today's kind of a big day because both teams use the take out the trash strategy. And even in the internet age, most people are not as plugged in on Friday and Saturday and part of Sunday. And really Monday, people start kind of, what did I miss over the weekend? So if you want to announce something that you know you're going to get killed for, you do it on a Friday, either in the usually afternoon. The Raiders announcement came down earlier in the day, but the Cowboys waited till Friday night for their announcement. You limit the negative reaction because by the time people find out, it's kind of old news. But both coaches will be welcome today. We'll have an introductory news conference while I'm sleeping. I'll wake up and watch the video from the Cowboys and the Raiders. The more interesting story here is in Jerry's world, by far. So let us discuss Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer will be introduced as the latest head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, at a gala event at Jerry's World. So what do you expect to see? Set the stage for what we can expect today at the Jerry Jones, Brian Schottenheimer hullabaloo. So I've got 24-hour fitness, eBay, and table manners. And we'll combine all of these things together, and I will try not to blow a fuse. I was told I just checked my email, and I was told by a listener in upstate New York that I blew a fuse in hour number 1. That my ranting about Josh Allen, that I blew a fuse. Because I merely pointed out that he got the ball down by 3 with 3:33 to go and a bunch of timeouts and didn't get it done. But it's not his fault. It's the referee's fault. It's this guy's fault. Yeah, okay. All right, now my first thought as far as the issue at hand. Brian Schottenheimer introduced later today. We're setting the stage for what we expect to happen at that event. My first thought is it will be award-winning. Award-winning. The Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, my theory is he spent Saturday and Sunday bunkered up with a couple of bottles of wine, handcrafting the gibberish that will come out of his mouth later on Monday. Right? The world will see the results of that consumption of whatever he was consuming over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? So you get rid of Mike McCarthy. Didn't have a problem with that. And you flirt with Deion Sanders. You play footsie with Deion. You have those bedroom eyes for Deion Sanders. And you end up hiring a guy who first interviewed for a head coaching job. I mentioned this on my Fifth Hour podcast over the weekend. He first interviewed for a head coaching job in 2006 when Nick Saban left the Miami Dolphins. Brian Schottenheimer interviewed for that job, didn't get it. And for the past 19 years, every single coaching job in the NFL has opened up, many of them many times, and none of them wanted to hire Schottenheimer. You talk about a Schotty hire. Now, are the chances 100% that he's going to suck as a head coach? No, it's never 100%. But this is supposed to be a plum job here, and Jerry Jones, what he's going to be doing today is taking everyone to 24-hour fitness. He is a certified personal trainer. The only class that Jerry Jones teaches, one course and one course only, spin class. Jerry is going to be presenting a very selective version of the facts. And if you listen closely, you will hear a man in his 80s singing a sweet lullaby of Bolshoi, ba-ba-baloney, ba-ba-baloney. Oh, man. He's not worried about the long-term consequences. What are you talking about? It's all about twisting the facts to make this not look that bad. He'll talk about how he always liked Brian Schottenheimer and his old man was a great NFL coach and this guy embodies everything the Cowboys want. I hold him in such high regard. We're so lucky to get him. I believe in him. And, oh, yeah. It's all going to be nonsense. I will guarantee to you, when Jerry Jones decided we're not going to pay McCarthy, we want to get rid of him, this was not his plan. This was not who he wanted to be the Cowboy coach. Now, there are reports saying that the son, the meddling son, Stephen Jones, like every good soap opera, you have to have a meddling family member, stepped up and convinced Jerry that this guy will work cheap and it doesn't really matter who the coach of the Cowboys is, which in many respects is true, not just because of Jerry Jones, because of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott blows. You're not going to win with Dak Prescott. So it's like, well, let's hire anybody. We're paying Dak. Doesn't matter. All right, now, second. Some chatter over the weekend out of La La Land that the Rams are preparing to unload their quarterback and one of their big-name receivers. A lot of moving and shaking. So thumbs up or thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down, are the Rams really open to trading quarterback Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp? So I'm going to go 2 thumbs up. I'm going 2 thumbs up on this. Here's why. Cooper Kupp for sure. That is a guarantee. I guarantee Cooper Kupp has been usurped. Puka Nacua is the supernova for the Rams. He's the leading actor in Sean McVay's offense. Everything is funneled through Puka. And while Cooper Kupp, I believe, will still be fine if he gets traded, he's very fragile. He's made out of glass. You look at the Cooper Kupp contract, it does not whisper, it screams relocation situation. If you're not the number one, he's being paid like a number one receiver. His production in the Ram offense is not worthy of that contract. Now, if he goes to Pittsburgh or Baltimore or somewhere like that, he can be that guy again, but he's not going to be that guy with the Rams. And so things are a little more complicated with Matthew Stafford. He'll be 37 soon. Time in terms of domination is short. Had a good bounce back year for the Rams. But if you're Les Snead, you're pretty much juggling your eBay page at this point. You're opening up the bidding. The buy now price, the Rams would take a second-round pick for Matthew Stafford and be very happy with that. There's no way they're going to get a first-round pick unless there's a sucker out there they can find. They got to find a sucker. But if somebody's really desperate to get a quarterback who's 37 years old, like the Jets or the Titans or the Raiders for that matter, Pete Carroll, second-round pick, you get Matthew Stafford. And he would have to sign off on the trade, so that's another obstacle, another hurdle that has to be cleared. Final thought. Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers looking for the Jets to release him so he can be a free agent. That's been going around, but the reporting, we talked about this a little bit in a recent episode of the show. There are more reports that Aaron Glenn, the new coach of the Jets, is open sesame to the idea of keeping Rodgers as QB1 for the Jets. Rodgers has a $35 million option bonus and a $2.5 million base salary in 2025, the last year of his contract. None of that money is guaranteed. So, new Jets coach Aaron Glenn is reportedly open to keeping Aaron Rodgers, believe it or not. Believe it or not. So I am not a believer on this. I'm not. I'm a heathen. And my theory, Aaron Glenn is publicly using good table manners, hoping to find a sucker to take Aaron Rodgers. Rather than publicly bemoan that Rodgers is there and you don't want him, you're not taking pot shots here. Aaron Glenn and the Jets would be guilty of football malpractice if they brought Rodgers back. It's a big game of chicken. Chicken. Rodgers wants free agency. He wants to play one more year, but he wants to pick and choose which team he goes to. So he would like to go somewhere else, and he can harpoon a trade by threatening to retire. He can go on Joe Rogan's podcast and say that he's going on a retreat out to the jungle in the Amazon to snort ayahuasca. But that's it. Quarterbacks in their 40s don't have much value. If Matthew Stafford maybe gets a low second-round pick, what's Aaron Rodgers worth? A fourth-round pick at this point? A fifth-round pick? Something like that? That's about it. I mean, there was a five-alarm fire. A five-alarm fire around the Jets. It was a mess, an absolute mess.